What's up, people? It's Josh. Today, I'm going to be showing you a deck that I've been playing a lot recently, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. It is inspired by the type of Reva that Dragall always used to play in the old Duelyst, where it's very minion focused, and he likes to control the board, and it really focuses around the Shiro Puppy Dragon and its synergy with your Heart Seekers and Force Field units, and putting your minions above certain breakpoints that matter, like Plasma Storm. Being able to push your guys above 3 attack is very important. But on the flip side, it also does play into things like Homeostatic Rebuke. So you have to be careful. But I like this deck a lot because it has more late game than Reva usually does. You see, we have kind of Bone Reaper, which is an unusual choice in Reva, but it has very cool synergy with Death Strike Seal. So does Battle Pando, where it's just a full AoE board clear. And I like that combo a lot. And I've really been liking this one Calligrapher because it gives you gas in the late game. And I think that this replay I'm about to show you will really just like show you how versatile this deck can be. And it can win matchups where it's just really not supposed to. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as you see, I queue up. It's about 2 in the morning when I'm playing this game. And I queue into Gromar. You may know him as Age of Wisdom. And he's playing, well, what I can only assume to be Wizard Brome, because he's either playing that or Gromar most of the time. So I know that in a matchup like this, it's going to be hard for me to aggro him down, because if I play into his removal tools too much, there's no way I can win the game. But on the flip side, it's also very hard for me to win the late game because I don't have a lot of big value generators. My deck has a lot of removal options with the Bone Reaper and the Death Strike Seal and cards like that. But my minions themselves are pretty weak. My best hope is to just start spamming Heartseekers every turn once we get to the late game, and hoping he can't answer them and I just ping him to death. But it's going to be tough because he plays cards like Elsewin Fugitive and maybe even the one that puts 2 copies of a spell in your hand when you draw a spell, the Lore Weaver or Lore Master, whatever. And so I know that he can just keep putting Tempest back in his hand if he has that, and I will never win with Heartseekers. But you see for the game here, he skipped his turn 1, which is pretty whatever. He's playing Wizard Brome, it's standard. I played 2 units, and I'm hoping the Scroll Bandit is going to be able to steal some spells from him. Because getting like a Trinity Oath is very important for me. But he's just able to remove both the minions with the Tempest and a Fortified Assault, so I don't have much to do. I just play a Night Watcher. It's a Force Field unit, and I hope it sticks because, well, it's kind of hard for him to deal with Force Field. If I'm able to buff it up and get repeated hits off on his general, then it's not so bad. But he heals up Lucent Beams, and I'm thinking, this game hasn't gone so badly so far. He's played 2 cards a turn, and, we're kind of even on health. No one's really taking any damage. I'm down a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. I'm happy that he used Lucent Beam for removal because I don't want to be taking that 4 damage to the face, especially late game. But he has the Circle of Life for my Kron. He punches my 2/2, and I'm left with just a Heartseeker. And at this point, my hand is looking pretty low. I have a big threat in the Battle Pando, in the Heartseeker. But unfortunately, I play into Sunstrike here, and he's able to clear everything. So I should have played this Battle Pando in the middle. But he's able to clear everything with a Sunstrike. He is a little low on HP, 16, but not nearly close enough for me to kill him. And I have 3 cards in my hand, and they aren't really giving me anything valuable. I'm not going to win the late game, so I replace Mist Dragon Seal because I don't need it. And I draw this Lantern Fox, which is really nice because Lantern Fox will give me gas, right? It generates Phoenix Fires, and even if it only generates one, it's still replacing itself, and he used a removal on it, so it's not that bad. But he just has a Pyrion's Claim, so it doesn't take any damage, and I don't get any Phoenix Fires. But it does cost him his whole turn, which I'm okay with. I replaced the Battle Pano because it's not doing anything. At this point, I play my units like this, and I just hope that he doesn't have another claim, because my Shiro can start getting a lot of value, since with Kron, he generates a body every turn. But he just has another claim. And, look at my hand. I only have 2 cards to his 4, and he's only down 1 HP. Not even. We're equal on HP after I punch this. So, at this point, I'm hoping I need this to stick. And I play a Scroll Bandit and Zendo like this because I want to steal a spell. Again, I'm looking for Trinity Oath. I don't get it. I get Martyrdom, which is maybe one of the most useless spells in this matchup, since he only plays, I don't know, 6, maybe 9 minions. Maybe not even that many. Maybe he doesn't even play 6. But he has Sunstrike to kill my bandits, so I don't steal any more spells. He Lucent Beams my Zendo, which is good because then I can't just punch with it because it'll die. So at this point, I wanted to replace into Killing Edge, right? Because that would have been, if not lethal, very close. But I don't get it. And so I set up these Heartseekers, hoping with the Shiro that, the late game plan comes in and I can just start hitting him down with these ranged units. My board is very, very weak to Tempest here, and I recognize that. And after he Trinity Oaths, I'm thinking there's no way he doesn't have Tempest, right? And now the position I'm in is very, very bad because this deck doesn't really have any card draw besides the Calligrapher. But you see he plays a couple cards to answer. He has a Sunbloom for my range units. He has a Lucent Beam for my Zendo. He's very scared of the Killing Edge, which he should be. But you see, I only have 2 cards. It's looking really hard to win this game unless I can stick this Scroll Bandit and steal a Trinity Oath to give myself more gas. So I just play it here. I'm trying to play my units around removal as best as I can, but it's Wizard Brome. Your stuff's going to get removed, and at this point, he's used 2 Lucent Beams, but I'm still low on HP, and it's hard for me to even punch him in the face. So, right now, the position is dire. It's dire. And I just need this bandit to stick, or else I'm gassed. And that's kind of what Wizard Brome does. It just runs you out of cards. He equips Regalia and punches my bandit, which is pretty bad for me. But then, if I remember correctly, he does something kind of strange here, which is Circle of Life this Heartseeker, which I get it. It gives him 5 HP, removes my ranged unit. But it just seems kind of like a waste of removal. I don't think he had to do that at this point. So I crack his artifact with the Phoenix Fire and the 2 Dispelled Heartseekers, and I replace into this Calligrapher. And this card is pretty much my only hope at this point. He's at 22 health. I need something pretty big off this to stay in the game. Or I'm hoping it sticks for 2 turns, or I get like an Inner Focus or an Assassination Protocol, just completely refill my hand. We're at 9 mana, so I have the means of spending it. But he plays his Hero Power, and I play... In a Hero Power war, I think mine would win eventually, but he just has so much removal from my Heartseekers, and I'm taking 1 every turn to kill his Crestfallen. And he even martyrdoms my Heartseeker because he gets it back with this Elsewin Fugitive. So I run forward with the Calligrapher and punch to this thing because I'm hoping that I get like a Phoenix Fire or an Inner Focus to kill it so he doesn't have infinite cards. But I get something very interesting. I draw 2 Spiral Techniques and a Meditate. And at this point I'm thinking, well, I have 1 Spiral in my deck, 2 in my hand, and I can shuffle 5 more into my deck. So that's 8 Spiral Techniques potentially that I can use to kill him. He's already used 2 Circle of Lives and Sundrop Elixir. He's used 1 Trinity Oath. And so I'm thinking he does still have a lot of healing left, but not all of it. And if I have 8 Spiral Techniques, that's 8 times 8, that's 64 damage. I don't think he can out-heal that. But he has a Decimate, which is very interesting. And he Martyrdoms my Heartseeker. And I'm lucky here. I draw, I replace my Mist Dragon into this juxtaposition so I can kill his Fugitive. So he stops generating value. And then I run away, Spiral Technique his face, and shuffle 5 more into my deck, kill this Fugitive. And look, I have a ton of space right now. And I'm just hoping that over the next 3-4 turns even, I can just spiral every turn and kill him. It's the most ridiculous game I've ever seen. But it's my only out at this point. And you can see he's actually 9 cards deeper in his deck than I am. And so there might even be a world where I can win in Fatigue if I have to Spiral Technique his Elsewin Fugitives. But, you know, with 2 Trinity Oaths left, he probably generates enough either burn with like Tempest or his last Lucent Beam that I'm not able to kill him. So at this point, I'm just hoping, you know, every turn, spiral, 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 get it done. And so that's exactly what I do. I'm just replacing. I don't bother playing Kron to get value. I just want to Spiral Technique his face. So, you know, I play my Heartseeker. It's 1 damage a turn. He's healing 1 a turn, so the Heartseeker negates the healing tiles, which is really nice. And he equips a Regalia. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, basically it's now or never, because if I don't get Spiral this turn, he's going to out-heal. He's going to be able to survive. Because I'm going to need to top deck like 2 Spirals in a row. But he Martyrdoms my Heartseeker for like the 4th time this game. And you see I don't have Spiral, so at this point I do just play the Kron, because I have these repositioning cards in my hand. You know, next turn it is 5 damage with the Mist Dragon Seal. And if I replace into a Spiral Technique, then that's, you know, 5 plus a ping for 1, plus, you know, maybe my General Punch and Spiral. It's a lot of damage if I get it. You see I get the range unit, which is actually pretty nice. He just Fortified Assaults my Kron, which is pretty sad. And then he can just punch my range unit for free with his face. But he steps off of the healing tile here. He steps off of the healing tile and doesn't heal himself for 1. And again, at this point, I'm thinking the game is pretty lost. I replaced my Mist Dragon because I have no other cards in my hand. And there's not even a way for me to Jux here, so I can punch his face and then Spiral Technique. So I just play the Bone Reaper. And I'm hoping that he walks into me so I can punch him with my face next turn and then Spiral. Because the Regalia is negating 2 damage. That or one of my Heartseekers needs to stick. But he only has, you know, 3 cards. If one of them's not Trinity Oath, it might be hard for him to remove my guys here. We do know he has a Martyrdom. But if he's healing my face for 9 by Martyrdoming the Bone Reaper, or even just 5 if he punches it first, then it's giving me more time to draw these Spiral Techniques, and I'm okay with that. My one big fear this game was that he'd have something big to Martyrdom himself, you know, like an Ironclave Guardian, and then just for heal him for 10. But he just casts his BBS, Veil Ascension to get another Fugitive, walks forward and punches my Heartseeker. But he doesn't taunt my face. So what I'm able to do is I can just punch him and play Spiral. And we got him. We spiraled 3 times. It's the most ridiculous, like, out I've ever seen. just casting Spiral Technique for 24 damage and still having 5 in my deck. But, that's the way the game goes sometimes. That's RNG. And good game to Gromar. I'm sorry that it had to go down this way. You probably would have won if it wasn't for that insane pull from the Calligrapher. But that's just why this deck, I like it a lot, because it's versatile, and it offers a lot of different ways to win the game. You can aggro them down with Killing Edges and Phoenix Fires and Primus Fist, that kind of thing. But you can also play for the long game, which is what it often does. Um, as a final disclaimer, I'd say I don't really recommend this deck. It's not the best thing you could be playing. It kind of auto loses to Titan, Fault. Um, it has an okay matchup against Arcanist, but it's more of a for fun thing. I like playing it because it reminds me of the old Duelyst. So if you're looking to have some fun, play this deck. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to this VOD review. This game was very funny to me. Again, because I played at 2 a.m. last night. I was basically delirious when this happened. And it kind of just was like the perfect end to the night. So, yeah. Thank you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.